You know what's wrong with the audio? Um, I'm not using my tablet, so it's not doing the full control of everything. So, sorry. Thank you for picking up on that and correcting me, Trina. So, hopefully, I got audio now. Um, if you could confirm, I'd appreciate that. So, what was I saying? Uh, well, it was a big lie. I got 7 hours of sleep last night. I got up 2 hours before streaming. I had coffee. I made breakfast and had it. So the theory is that today's stream's going to go better. Obviously, it didn't. But anyway, note to self: make sure you set up all of the equipment before you live stream and use it. So anyway, here we are. So today I'm going to talk about software, and obviously it'll be HyperCard again. Um, I did order the parts. Let's see, Tom sent me some boards for creating a grease weasel. Grease weasel is a device you can use to copy floppies for archiving. And it works best if you have a Sony floppy disk drive, and I picked one up. Tom had a whole bunch of these boards. Eric Helgeson has a pile of blue pills, which you need for doing this. So he's sending me one, several actually, and he went ahead and flashed them, so I don't have to deal with trying to program the darn things. Back in the old V1 days of Blue SCSI, you had to use a programmer to flash the things, blue pills. And I ordered 5 of them from Amazon, and absolutely none of them worked. And I ended up sending my V1s to Eric in the mail so he could program them for me. Anyway, annoying, but it's the way it goes. So, who do we have in the chat today? Trina. Trina was first. Trina is up and awake today. And let's see, I was second. And then All Things DG is third. Question mark. Yes, it still counts even if you're in the kitchen. Let's see, who else do we have? K-Mac Vintage. Good morning, Will. And Billgoats. Good afternoon. Billgoats is on the other side of the pond. So it's good to have you. It's one of the reasons why I stream so frickin' early on a Saturday. So I'm using 2 mics. I shouldn't be using 2 mics. Let me cut out the desktop audio. Does that help? I probably had an echo going. And there's an auxiliary mic 3. What's that? Okay, is my voice still doubled? Okay, it's better. Okay, sorry about that. Again, hook up the equipment properly. I need to figure out a way to do a test stream so that I guess I could record myself. Anyway. All right, good. Thank you. And Gut Bomb, thank you for joining. So today is about software. Let's get into it. You guys know I'm working on a text adventure game. Talk about that all the time. I've been working on it. Well, it'll be 2 years in March. That's when I kicked off working on it. So obviously it's taken a while to get to where I'm at. But I'm working on the manual and fixing bugs, because when you write the manual, you try things out and you find out all the stuff that's not working. I have some gravitas. I'm channeling a little Dave Earl, or what's his name? I don't know. Anyway. So Adventure is mostly a text adventure game, but we all know things evolved since text adventure games first came out. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is to do a cave crawler that's, visual. And the plan, even when I started doing the text-based game, the plan was it was going to be only a few months to crank out a text-based adventure game. Silly me, took a lot longer. Of course, I'm doing it part-time. But the gist of it is that the engine and everything that you do for a text adventure game can be leveraged for doing, an RPG or something more visual, side scroller, click and find kind of adventure game. So what I really like, and there's been some development recently, there was a new game that was released for Amiga. That's this great little dungeon crawler. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe somebody can recall it. But anyway, it's an isometric perspective, which is very easy to program. You don't have a camera point of view. You don't have to do ray tracing with perspective or anything. It's sort of the cheesiest, cheapest way to do perspective. But it works, and it's not terrible. Can be a little awkward, but it renders pretty fast, and that's what you need for HyperCard. You don't want to spend a lot of time on graphics because it's an old environment. Anyway, since the manual is coming along pretty well, my self-imposed deadline for the adventure manual is Marcintosh. I thought I'd scratch a programming itch and play around with VNext of Adventure, which is going to be an isometric kind of a cheap animation scrolling kind of thing. I haven't quite decided. I think I'm going to do something where it generates multiple cards, and each card represents a room, so that it doesn't take as long for it to run, because it'll be pre-rendered. But anyway, long and short of it. So let's build a HyperCard stack. This work thing is cutting way too much into my game time. Yes. In a more enlightened society, I would be retired. Because I'm tired. And there's nothing better than being retired. Perhaps if you were a vehicle, having your tires rotated. That's not technically being retired, though. Retreaded? I don't know. Anyway, I'm fast approaching the age when I can technically retire, but I can't afford to do it, so I'll be working for another 6 years probably. But that's okay. I'm in management. Doesn't require me to actually be able to do anything except remember how to motivate other people to do things, which is a challenge, believe me. So I'm gonna switch to another view here. Okay, so I've got the wrong keyboard and mouse. Excuse me a moment while I switch. Move things around a bit. Get my Battleship keyboard out in front of me. Okay, so I'm developing this on a Power Macintosh G3. I believe it's a 266 megahertz machine with plenty of RAM, which helps for doing development because HyperCard on a classic Mac sucks a lot of RAM and is kind of slow, and the visual space is tight to do the work, so I'm working until I'm dead. Yeah, I hear you. Who knows? If I have to, I'm kind of planning on working till I'm 67, because right now that's maximum return on Social Security for me. I have every confidence that they're going to change that year, and I won't be grandfathered, and I'll have to work until I'm 70 or something like that. But so retirement after that should be, considering my health, at least 5 years. I don't know. It's hard to say. So anyway, let's create a new stack. So I'm going to fire up HyperCard. Now I did work on this a little bit already, mostly so I could be prepared for today. Because nobody wants to watch me take forever to figure out how to do stuff. Or maybe you do. I haven't done one of those streams in a long time where I just have music in the background and work. Maybe I'll do that sometime during a weeknight. Anyway, so here is HyperCard, and we're going to do a new stack. And it won't know what to do with itself because I'm moving outside of the adventure folder. And we're going to call this ISO. Okay. Hey, John. Good morning. And Dave, welcome. So I believe John is streaming at noon today. So if you want to drop a link to your stream in the chat, go for it. I believe you're a moderator, so you can get away with it. Okay, so first thing I need to do here is get into the stack code, and you have, the first thing that happens is on OpenStack. I realize the text is a little tiny right here. We're going to fix that in a minute. Because I have some development tools that I put together. And if we include that stack and pass the OpenStack event to it, that will help. So let's save our script, close HyperCard, open it back up, and my development preferences show up where it puts various things together. And if I hit F5, I get into the stack, and it's set the font up so it's a bit bigger so you guys can see it. So this imposes a 2-hour limit on my live stream because I also enjoy watching the Big Bad Biologist, Big Bad Bench. There's more jank on the BBB than there is anywhere else on the internet, and you don't want to miss that jank. So tell us what kind of jank you're doing today. Like, where else will you get a cordyceps mount for a chip? Okay, so I open the stack, I load my development tools. On close stack, we want to stop using the development tools. So we're going to pass close stack. So on the development tools, there's a close stack event that will save your settings and things like that if you've got it configured to do so. And then, there's the usual stuff that you want to handle. I need to write a stack that and put it, or some code and put it in the home stack to set up this when I create a new thing. 100% jankless stream this week. I'm gonna have to watch just to see what non-jank looks like. I've forgotten. I mean, I produce janky stuff all the time, so I don't know, John. That seems like a kind of a risky move. Oh yes, take care of the sheep. Billgoats is a very interesting dude. He lives on an island. The island has such a small population that if you address something to Dan on that island, it probably would get to him. I don't know if you addressed it to Billgoats if it would get to him, but you know, anyway. And I thought when he gave me his address the first time that it was like a joke, but they name their buildings, their dwellings have names, you know, and it's just cool. I think it's really cool. You know, we miss something in the U.S. when we use numbers for everything. I think it'd be cool if we had place names that you could use. I mean, even the White House, right? That's a name. Can you address something to the White House? Why do you have to put the street address on it? It's a rather famous building. Okay, enough of that. What was next? What was I doing? Oh yeah, close stack. Already did close stack. Suspend stack, did that. Resume stack. Pass. Resume stack. Okay, so what does BBB say here? So, if you say this is going to be jank, you need to end the stream. Trina is being critical again. What is going on over here? Programming is going on over here. Okay, so got the household stuff going. We're gonna do some graphics, some painting, drawing, if you will, and yeah, Trina is already asleep. So what we need to do typically is you want to, if you're going to paint on the screen and you want to run stuff multiple times and you're debugging, you usually want to clear your graphics. So we're going to do a little bit of clean up stuff. Reset, paint, choose, select tool. Yeah, it helps if you write things correctly. I don't know why it's that picky. It's supposed to be natural language. Do menu, select tool. Oh, select all. So I want to select everything. Do menu, clear picture. So what we're doing here is we're resetting the paint tools, choosing the select tool, selecting all, and clearing the picture. So let's try that out, see if it works. So this is a message handler. We're going to save our stack. I'll move things around a little bit so I can get to... Make sure you can still see this. Okay. Let's grab the tools. I'm going to peel it off. Put it over here. We're going to use the paint tool. And we're going to do let's tag the screen. Okay, and we've got our little message box here. I'm going to send a message to the handler. There, it runs. It clears the graphics. Alright, so that works. Let's see, we're going to need some... Well, yeah, let's do this. When you open the stack, let's clear our graphics. What should we do next? Okay, for this I'm going to need some global variables. I like to initialize the global variables when you open up the stack. So might as well have a handler for that. Okay. And we'll do that when we open the stack too. What else are we going to need? So we're going to draw tiles on the screen for a map, which means we need to figure out how to draw a tile. So we're going to have a message to draw a tile. The tile is going to be a parameter we send to it that's going to have like XY coordinates for a grid. So tile 0, 0 is your first tile. 0, 1 would be, you think of it as a two-dimensional grid. And our representation for the map is just that, a two-dimensional grid. It's not going to be coordinates for an isometric view. That would be screen coordinates. It's going to be more of your map coordinates. So there's two different ways of looking at it. One is a projection of the other. Oh, all things. What do you? I use Jank AI to help me work. Eric, did you see the OSI magazine I had on last night's video? It was called... Yes, I did see that. And I think I saw a reference to that artwork. And it was adventures, plural, wasn't it? So when I was researching what prior art is out there for adventure games, I think I actually saw that graphic. Didn't see anything else about it, so it'd be cool to find out more. So if you would, you know, when you get around to scanning that stuff, let me know. Okay, so this is gonna draw a tile at the coordinates provided in the tile. There was once a TV show in the UK with a host who was famous for having big teeth. Someone sent in an envelope with a drawing of big teeth and a stamp, and it arrived at the correct TV show office. That's awesome. Very popular TV show, if the entire postal service knew. Draw title, the title. Okay, so it's going to be a coordinate pair. But here's the thing too. We want it to be three-dimensional, not just a flat thing. But let's start out two-dimensional, be easier. So in the title's going to be a pair of values. Comma separated. The default delimiter in HyperCard for text is a comma. You can set it to other values. In my database for Adventure, I use a vertical pipe. And if someone's stupid enough, if someone is janky enough to use a vertical pipe in their text in the game, then it's on them. Something I need to note. In the manual, at least the game editing manual, not to use vertical pipes inside your text. So put item 2. Okay, so we're going to have map X and Y coordinates based off of the, and I said title, typo, tile, not title. Is anyone screaming, noticing that? Nope. Okay, I've successfully put you all asleep. So we need to, what do we need to do? We need to determine tile vertices. So our tile has 4 corners. We need to figure out where those corners are so we can draw between them. Then we need to draw isometric tile. Need to draw the tile. And that's it, really. There isn't much else there. So if HyperCard were an AI, it would try to figure this out and it would fail. I don't know. Maybe we should do this would be a fun live stream. We'll ask one of the AIs to write hypertext or HyperTalk code for HyperCard and see how well it does. I predict failure. One, because most of the information about programming in HyperTalk is pretty old. There isn't a lot of it on the internet, so how much material could it have to train itself on how to write the code for it? You'd be probably better off doing Apple Basic or Python, for example. But it'd be fun to try, just as a fun stream. See what we do. Okay, so just determine the tile vertices. So we're going to need, I'm going to do this a lot, so I'm going to have a function to do this. Map to screen, map X, and so there are reasons why I break apart the tile into separate values and then reassemble it, and it'll be obvious here in a moment. So this is our top left of the square. We're going to move 1 unit over in map coordinates. Oh. And I'm messing up already. So that's the top right. and the bottom left. Okay, so what does this look like? Let's go back over to here. We're going to use our paint tools, and I'm going to draw a square. Okay, so this is our map coordinate. So this is 0, comma 0. So there's your first coordinate. And we need to draw an isometric view, which kind of looks like this. Well, you know, freehand. And that's 0, 0. Right, and then you would have next to it this would be 0, comma 1. And this would be 1, comma 0. Anyway, you guys get the idea. And this is 1, comma 1. So you could see how this would give you a kind of a perspective view. All right. The nice thing about this is that since it doesn't have a camera where you've positioned a camera and you're not doing ray tracing or anything like that, it makes the math really simple. So we've got a function here that we're going to use that will create translate map to screen coordinates. So we're going to need that. That function. So let's write that. So function, because it's going to return value. So we're going to send it the map xy. What's going on in the chat? Mr. Angle, thank you for joining. Functions are one of the things I never did get the hang of making in HyperCard. Yeah, functions are pretty easy. Part of the limitation in languages like HyperTalk is that you can pass multiple parameters to a function, but you only get one value back. Fortunately, there's ways that you can, you know, HyperCard and HyperTalk, HyperTalk treat strings as special data types in some circumstances. Like if you get the rectangle of something, you get a string that has 4 values, 4 numbers separated by commas as a list. So in a way, it's like a crude form of a structure or a list. And then there are functions built into HyperTalk to handle list strings and things like that. So it's got the rudiments of being able to do structures, but it doesn't really. One of the things that I did for Adventure is I've got a pipe delimited data model where a string represents a record and it's key value pairs. So it's the name of the value, vertical pipe, and then the value, and then another vertical pipe and another key name, so that you can have a bit of a database. In more modern languages, that's a structure that you can reference, and you could do dot references for accessing elements of that structure. So there are some extensions to HyperTalk. You can also use AppleScript instead of HyperTalk, which has a little bit more advanced features in the language. But there's some things that you lose by going backwards 40 years in a language like this. But there's also things you gain, like you have to invent the wheel, reinvent the wheel. Which reminds me of something that Joe said last night in a live stream. I'll get to it later. But so let's get back to this function. So we got a function, map to screen. You're going to pass the map XY value pairs to it, which is a string. Map, let's see, translate map coordinates into screen. So we're going to translate map coordinates into screen coordinates. Let me get this up higher so it's a little easier to see. Yeah, Will's been creating quite a bit of cool doodads. So check out his, I believe he uses coffee as a marketplace. Let me make you, excuse me while I find the right mouse, make you a moderator. Okay, Will, you are now a moderator. You can throw a link into to your store in the chat if you'd like to. Or you could do that. That works too. You can drop the full link now and it'll work if you want to. All right, so we're going to translate map coordinates into screen coordinates. So we're going to need let's see. Oops. Put item 1 of the map XY into map X. Put item 2 of the map XY into map Y. And then we're gonna return screen X we're gonna return the screen X and screen Y. So we got to figure out screen X and screen Y. Now if you were doing perspective and a bunch of other stuff and calculating angles, you'd have to do some trig. Doing isometrics dummies it down quite a bit. So the formula is pretty simple. You do need to define some things. So map X minus map Y times. You need a value that represents half of the width of the tiles. So since that's a constant, unfortunately, HyperTalk doesn't have a concept of a constant. You have to use a global variable. So I'm going to use Hungarian notation if you happen to be curious why there's a prefix of a G in front of this variable. We're going to have a half width. Now you could just use the width and then divide by 2 to get half the width. It's faster if you just provide that pre-figured out. Okay, so we've got two globals we need to define. And if you remember right, we had a set globals. Eric Rangel, send me email of the extras you wanted so I can pack it up over the weekend. Cool. So check out Will's wares. He's got some. Speaking of wares, it's time for an advertisement. So I gotta find the mouse. So anyway, I started a t-shirt store, mostly because I wanted to have a place to put adventure stuff, paraphernalia for the game, but also because I had a couple of, some t-shirts that I've designed. I'm wearing one of them today. It's my Hug t-shirt. Get over here so I can scroll, which is this one. The t-shirt I'm wearing is actually it's an exact duplicate of the Apple HyperCard user group t-shirt, but I can't really sell that because it's got the Apple logo on it. Whatever. Apple doesn't like it when you use Apple inside text, especially if it's leading the phrase, because it looks like they're endorsing stuff, and it's a registered trademark, blah, blah, blah. So I redesigned the shirt. Do people hug you more? That is interesting because, yes, I was at the hospital. Sorry, my clock's going off. I was at the hospital for my mother, and some person said, "I like your shirt. Do you accept hugs?" And I'm like, "Yes." So I got a hug from a random stranger. They just saw the hug part, I guess, and didn't read the rest of it. But whatever. I'll take hugs. I like hugs. So yeah. So do people hug you more? Yes, they do. At least once. Anyway, so that's the idea behind this shirt. Is it's got the HyperCard logo, and I call it the Vintage HyperCard User Group. So if you want that t-shirt, you can go there. There was a sale going on, and Threadless frequently will do sales where you can get shirts cheaper. So you might want to wait around and see if a sale comes up. Yeah. Anyway, but I also have some other stuff here. I've got Full Stack Developer, so it's a play on HyperCard being made out of stacks, kind of a thing. A little bit of adventure stuff. I love HyperCard. And then this one is the latest one I did, and I kind of like it. It's fun. Bill Atkinson, the creator of HyperCard, there's an icon in the HyperCard stack that is of his face, and I thought it'd be fun to do something based on that. So there's half his face with I know HyperCard. Anyway, so if you care to buy a t-shirt, now you know where to go. I'll drop the link in the chat if I can find my mouse. So, and the right keyboard. Oh, geez. Can't type today. Eric's edge.threadless.com. There. Okay, so let's go back to programming. Oh, I never transition. Ah, man. Why did... let me go back over that. Dang it. It helps if you transition so people can see what the heck you're talking about. So annoying. This is what I get for not having the control thing set up. So, really quickly. This is the latest t-shirt. I know HyperCard with Atkinson's face. And then there's some adventure stuff. This is kind of neat, fun. Full stack developer, HyperCard. And here's the Hug t-shirt. So, sorry about the wasted time talking about stuff that I think I'm showing you guys when I didn't hit the button. So much for waking up early and being awake. But anyway. Oh, this is kind of fun. This is a reproduction of the t-shirt, a t-shirt that Apple had for HyperCard 2.2. And I redid it for HyperCard 2.4. But it's kind of neat. Do your own thing. And of course, adventure. You should know better than to pick up a duck in a dungeon. Okay, enough about that stuff. Let's actually hit the right button, transition back. Okay. Where was I? Boring you with my t-shirt store. So, and we were writing the function to set globals. So I need values here. Screen width is like 5 something by whatever. I can't remember the exact coordinates. So we can't draw really big things. Yeah, 16 megabyte 30 pin chips. You want those for your Mac SE30, if I remember correctly. That's awesome, Will. Yeah, they're getting hard to find. So globals. I need to set values for these. And we were talking about that. So half the width of a tile. Let's say a tile's 64 pixels. So half width would be 32. And then to do the proportions right, then the tile height would also be 32, or half. Go back to our picture. Those are pretty much the same height and width across there. Okay. Makes the calculations easy if you do that. And since I don't really want to close this stack, we're going to throw a call to this function or handler right in the top. Oh, we don't need it here. We need it down here. we should set the globals when we open the stack. And we've got that. So, but just to make it easy while we're debugging, I don't want to have to close the stack every time I fiddle with the global. We're just going to do that. And then do what to do. Can you put comments on the end of a line? We'll find out. Okay, so we've got our screen X and Y. I think that should do it. I'm thinking. Oh yeah, Will added LEDs. So if you've got a Mac Effects case that's clear, and you want to have blinking lights inside your case for your memory, I believe as it accesses the memory, the little tiny LEDs flash on the memory chips, which is kind of cool. So. Okay, do we have enough here? Yeah, we can calculate it. Now we need to draw the... Sorry, my phone keeps going off. Now we need to draw the title. So, tile, not title. Sorry. And to do that... we're going to have to do some graphics. So let's choose the line tool. Or do we want to use the brush? I don't know. Let's use the line tool. This is just the base grid, so we're going to do it that way. Hey Joe, thanks for joining. So we're going to use the line tool, and we're going to draw, let's see, we got to go from the top left to top right, and then we're going to top right to bottom right. I'm drawing it from vertex to vertex. You don't have to do that. I mean, you could start at any of the endpoints, but I'm just going to do it this way. Bottom right to bottom left. Top bottom right. And bottom left to top left. So that should go, it should go from here to here, and then here to here, then here to here, then here to here. And then we're going to choose the browse tool when we're done. Okay, so the way you do this is you choose the tool and then you drag from top left to top right. So drawing is really simple. That should do it. Hey, you're welcome, Will. Anything that contributes to the community is all right by me. Joe joined the stream, and Joe also has lots of wares. Not in you know, the pirated software sense. Not that kind of wares. I mean wares and things, cool things you can buy from jcm-1.com. Joe, if you want to drop the link into the chat, feel free. Whereas, yeah, Ron from Ron's Computer Videos has been dropping a lot of stuff lately too, so a lot of cool activity going on. So check it out. Okay, so do we have everything we need here to draw a tile? I think so. So I could just call this function, or excuse me, handler, and say draw tile and give some coordinates, and it should throw it on the screen, right? Well, let's save our work. We're going to clear the graphics again. And we're going to draw tile. And we need to give it some coordinates. So let's say it's 0, 0. Can't understand this. Debug. Drag from top left to top right. What am I missing? What am I missing? Did I... Oh, I probably don't have graphics started up. What am I missing? Have people tested global talk using Ethernet? I have some Ethernet connection, you know, cables I created, but I haven't actually used them because I've been doing everything over Ethernet. Yeah, I should do that. Oh, I mean, sure it works. It must work. Oh. Okay, so oh, look at the garbage we have in here in the variable. So what's going on? Let's test some of our functions. So map, let's see, put map to screen, and we need 0, 0. OG title width, okay. What's going on here? This is what I get for writing code without testing. Map to screen. Put item 1 of the map X, Y. Ah, I'm concatenating. I believe that's supposed to be plus. And that's supposed to be minus. Not paying attention to what I'm typing. Debugging. Don't write all your code and then test it. Test each thing you write as you go. That's the way to do it. Get your money for nothing and your chicks for free. Must be a song about a farmer. A chicken farmer? Ah, so Joe ran an Ethernet network, Apple Talk network, on Global Talk. Yeah, Wi-Fi config is, I mean, the Wi-Fi is a little slow. I don't know if it's any slower than doing Apple Talk, but anyway. Okay, so let's try this again. Put map to screen. Oh, it helps if you close the function. Expected a number here. I bet you we've got nothing in the globals. You know why? And this is why I need to write a linter for this. You can't refer to globals without telling your function that they exist. Height, not width. Save. Let's try it again. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. These screen coordinates are not going to work right. And you can see because the origin is 0, 0. And we're treating the origin as if it were like in the center of the screen, but it's not. It's up in the upper top left corner. So I don't expect this to work right. We're going to try it anyway. Boy, I can't type today. Yeah, I don't see anything. So we need offsets. We could just add them in. So we need to shove things over a little bit. Oh, and this is wrong. This isn't plus and minus. Let's try that again. Change one thing, try it again. Ah, there we go. At least something is showing up now. But we need to shift it over. So we're going to add oh, I don't know. Let's just add 200 to it. I could calculate it all out. I could, what it should do in this stack is I should have it figure out what the screen, the width and height of the graphics area is and do that, but we're just going to hard code it for now. So let's do this again, see if we get something better. Okay, obviously I'm missing a corner. I didn't mean to draw a triangle. So what am I doing wrong? Okay, so top left to top right. Top right to bottom right. Bottom right to bottom left. Bottom left to top left. That's fine. Did I screw up the functions or the calls? So x and y. X plus 1 to y. X to y plus 1. Plus 1 to plus 1. So that should be good. Obviously there's a bug. So let's look at the calculations as we go through here. I'll set a breakpoint. Okay, the top left should be at 200, 200 because we did offset it. So that's right, right? The top right, 232 by 232. So it would have shifted over. Yeah, so I think that's right. But we're oh, that's not right. X, X. Okay, this is where I cheat. Instead of walking through all the code, on this, I worked on it last night. So we're going to bring up the stack that I know works. And we'll go through the code there. So clear screen, or no, graphics. All right. Draw tile. Now, in this version, I have three-dimensional coordinates. There we go. So what does that mean? It means that if I then draw a tile that's on the z-axis one higher, it does that. Will -1 work? Yes. Okay. So let's look at the code really quick here. So it's a little more complicated. Globals. I've got what I had started with, but I also have a global that is the offset for the X and Y for the screen. I have something called cube height to define what the z-axis height is for going up and down. And then I have maximum number of X and Y directions you can go. There really should be a Gmax map Z that would tell you the maximum that you can go in the Z axis. And then I define the tile width, the half width, etc. Here are my offsets for the screens. The cube height is 39. You would think it would be 32, but there's a reason behind doing that. I'll show you. Who evicted Ron? Building a real museum building behind my house. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just need to take over Ron's space. I thought you were going to buy the neighbor's house. Wasn't it up for sale? Anyway. So you got your globals and then the map to screen, because it takes 3 parameters. And if you don't provide the third parameter, it assumes that you're on the 0 space. Yeah, mall space, really. If there's one thing that's cheap, it's commercial real estate right now. Has been for quite a while. In the right area, anyway. Okay, so the function's modified now to be able to do, it adds this global for the screen, origin X and Y to it. It also modifies based on the z-axis setting and uses the cubicle height to figure out to adjust the y, the screen y, so that you go up and down. And the screen to map is a way of translating clicks on the screen into where are you on the map. Now that gets a little weird. How do you figure out the z-axis if someone's clicking on a two-dimensional representation? So it doesn't do that. It assumes that you're always in the 0 plane. So in here it draws the map. So I've got something set up to loop and do the tiles as you go. And then a way to draw a cube. So the cube represents the volume space, the volumetric space for that three-dimensional area. And I use a brush tool instead of the line tool so that you can see the cube a little bit better. And then drawing the tile, again, is pretty simple. And if I looked at this in detail, I'd probably figure out where I went wrong in my code. But see, it's not really a lot of code to do this. So if we look, you've got draw map, draw cube, and draw tile. So we already used draw tile. Let's draw a cube. And we're going to draw a cube at these coordinates. So there you go, it draws a cube. And if we draw the map, there's your grid. So I've got it offset just enough to put it centered, so that's a good place for a game. And if you draw a cube on it, and we put it in 3 in the middle, and expected a number here because I don't know how to type. There. You can see why it's 39 instead of 36. It's to give it a little bit more height so that if I draw something that is behind it, you have a bit of perspective. And let's do one right here. So it looks like it's overlapping. Now I do need to mess around with the graphics a little bit, shading and things like that so that you get an idea. Make a flatland adventure. So the idea is that I do want to do a dungeon crawl in the with a 3D space. There's been recent games that have come out that are pretty cool. There's one in particular for Amiga, I think, that I really like and saw. So this is where I'm headed with version next of Adventure. Still have to finish the current version, still have to release it. Yeah, there is, I think there might be a HyperCard side-scrolling adventure. Well, not side-scrolling, it's vertical scrolling. I don't know. Anyway, there might be one that's an animated thing, but I haven't found it yet. But I intend to make one. So, as the next version, I'm just playing around with it because I'm ahead of schedule on doing the manual for the current text-based adventure. So, I wanted to play around with some coding. Scratch that itch. Now draw a hypercube. Let me get out my voxel tank and we'll draw a hypercube. Visual effects scroll left. Yeah. Yeah, you could go from card to card. and that's what I'm planning to do for this. So the idea is that I want it to generate the game dynamically, but use cards so that when you scroll between positions, if I go, left, it would go to the left, the left card to the left. That's meant for that. And up, down, right, left, right? North, south, east, west, if you will. But I want those to be dynamically generated. So to speed up gameplay, I think what I'm going to do is if you load a new game, it will, at that point, generate all the map tiles for all of the screens instead of generating it as you play, so that you don't have as much, it doesn't take as long. Or I'll have it generate between chapters. Or, there might be points where you could play some music and it's like an intermission kind of a thing, and then it's generating the next set of tiles. I don't know. The advantage of dynamically doing it is I could do a couple of things. I could generate random locations. So the elements that would be in the location would be random. You wouldn't have to predefine each location. Or you could say what kind of location you want, and then it would dynamically generate that type of location and randomly put elements in it or items in it. There's a lot of things that you could do. But I have to be careful. If I start writing version next of Adventure, I'll never get version 1 done. And we need to get version 1 finished. I really need to. I've been working on it for almost 2 years. And I want to develop some things in other platforms. And text adventure in the classic style for Apple II is something I'd like to do. I wanted to learn Apple Assembly and for the Apple II. Apple II GS has a HyperCard stack. There should be a version of Adventure that works on an Apple II GS. More limited. Yeah, I can't just do a straight translation, but I'd like to make it more efficient so it'll run on a classic Mac with 4 mega RAM instead of having to be emulated or done on a Power PC. So there's a bunch of stuff I would like to do and need to do, but I really need to get version 1.0 out. So that's why I'm focused on that. Yesterday and today was more about scratching an itch because I'm ahead of schedule a little bit. So there you go. So we're coming up on an hour and a half. I think I'm going to end it here. And I'll play around a bit more with and clean up the stack a bit. I might throw it out there as a sample. I do have a website now for Adventure. And so I'm going to start putting blog posts on the Adventure website for development stuff and things that I'm doing, experimental things for the game, stuff like that. So let me type in the address so you guys can visit it. Get a right keyboard. It is Quack of Dawn. So Quack of Dawn is the first Adventure game release. And let me switch back to me. Sorry. Webcam. There. That's better. So that's going to be the first title. And yeah, great retirement projects. These are things that I'd love to spend more time on. I am not going to have any trouble keeping myself busy when I retire. And I'd really like to get to the point where I could start releasing games that people would, like to play. And I'd love to be able to spend 40 hours a week or whatever working on this kind of stuff. So looking forward to retirement when I eventually get there. But, one of the great things about the current job that I have is that I only have to work 40 hours a week. And I leave at 5 o'clock, I'm done for the day. I don't think about work when I'm at home, or at least not much. One of the nice things about technically not being salaried anymore, and I don't have to burn the candle at both ends like I did for the last 40 years, which is great. Anyway, so thanks for joining. I appreciate all of you. Please go visit the fine shops of JCM-1 and KMac Vintage has his coffee site where you can get fine wares. Links are in the chat. If you care to get a HyperCard t-shirt or an adventure game t-shirt, I've got a t-shirt store at Threadless. And it's been fun being a little creative graphically. I'm graphically challenged, but fortunately I have a consultant, my eldest daughter, who knows graphic design. So when I put something together, I'll throw it up to her and say, good? and she'll give me some helpful advice. So visit my store if you want to do that. I have a coffee. If you want to contribute towards the adventure game, there's a goal that's on the coffee site. Any amount, $1 or $1,000 or $10,000 or $1 million, $1, will get you a credit in the game, in the game's game credits, and in the manual there'll be a credit section. So if you care to contribute, please do. There's no obligation, obviously. Also, feed the algorithm. If you like this stream and the stuff I'm doing, like this, please, and subscribe if you're not. If you don't like it, hit the don't like button. Do thumbs down. Hey, it's engagement. It works. I'll take any engagement. I've gotten to the point now, if I do a short and somebody comments on it or whatever, and it doesn't happen very often, but I did a bread baking thing where I did not butter the top of the loaf, and I got dinged for that by somebody, and I said thank you for the engagement. So anyway, see all of you later. Enough rambling. So maybe I'll do a live coding stream during the week and just have some background music. That'd be fun. I haven't done one in a while. Later. See ya. Outro. Hit the button. I gotta hit the transition button too. Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Halloween. See you on the flip side.